I forgot to grab my fan. Abhora. Well, hi everybody, and welcome to the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come here first to quench your thirst. I'm Brook, and I'm passionate about pop culture, and what the hell was this ending? Incredible.
Oh, you wanted a twist day.
oh, you wanted a twist day. We need that. Why do we not have that as a button? That should be a button. With the amount of damn twists we get on these damn shows, that should be a button at this point. We'll note to production to add that at some point. I say as part of production. So welcome aboard. I just finished drinking this water, and if I remember to bring it with me, I would be drinking something out of my cup mug. You and yours can get your cup mugs and other assorted cup merch at legcreations.etsy.com. That link is in the description down below. We do ship domestically here in North America and internationally, so there are no excuses. No, right there. Look at Mike's. Isn't it nice? Yeah, great. All right. Thank you very much. And I'm joined by some lovely folks today as well.
Boo! This is Mike, your buff bodybuilding correspondent down in Dallas, Texas. I put the him and himbo and the gay and video gamer. And wow, this episode, I felt like it was chock full of all this drama and a little bit of drag. So that seems to be the case this season. So I'm happy and excited to unpack it with y'all.
Salut les moches. That's gonna be the French version for hello Uglies in French. And I'm also not meaning this from the heart. I'm your Parisian correspondent Micha, and I'm drinking a slightly tepid turmeric infusion just for this nice occasion. And this episode was wild. That was an occasion.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about Dragula Titans Season 2, Episode 3 today, which means we are chugging along straight through the season of Dragula. With our Gothic Wedding challenge this week. But before we get into all of that, make sure you go ahead and hit that big subscribe button down there if you haven't already. We are here many times a week talking about everything drag, Dragula, Drag Race, when it's on King of Drag, when it's on, Lamos, when it's on Morbid Drags, like everything that you can imagine drag related we talk about. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay informed for all of that. We also would love to see you stick around because we are trying to get 1,000 subscribers across all of our channels this year. We are this close at time of filming to 3,000, and we would love to have you as part of our group. Thank you so much for being here in the first place. So we're coming off the heels of Loris getting exterminated last week. The girls are talking shit, as they have been known to do all season.
What? This group? Never.
Yeah. The basic consensus was that Loris didn't step her game up, and that the season 1 girls weren't able to move into the new generation of Dragula. I don't agree, but that's just me.
I don't know where they're getting this. They're like, oh, the season 1 girlies didn't step it up. Cue to like 5 minutes later when Vanderbon Odd comes in, and it's like, bitch, if this season 1 queen came in, it would be over. Just crown her immediately. Like,
yes, and
enough slander of season 1, please.
Same for Melissa on Titans 1, because nobody ever said a word about her like being not up to par or not like on the height of her game. It's kind of a very weird narrative, especially pushed by Jade, who barely escaped bottom on 2 different occasions. So,
well, and it's crazy to me when I hear, and again, I don't mean to say anything about Jade, because again, love Jade, but when Jade says, yeah, these girls didn't step their game up, I'm like, Jade, I think you're a pot here calling the kettle black. I'm just saying, like,
pot me kettle.
Yeah, pot me kettle. Like, it's a little hypocritical considering Jade's performance this season has not been strong, for lack of a better word.
That's very rich coming from the bottom 1% of like 2 of the 3 challenges so far.
Well, we'll talk about it. So coming into this episode, we were still dealing with the Dollya fallout at the beginning.
I love how like it was it wasn't even a second. And then Cynthia's like, yo, Dollya, what the fuck? And I'm like, I laughed. The instant energy that Cynthia brings to everything is giving me life. I love it.
So last week we had been discussing as to whether or not Dollya did say something about Cynthia, because Dollya was pretty adamant that she hadn't. But I mean, again, telephone. Maybe Zavaleta got told something that wasn't true. We don't know. But it turns out she didn't say anything about Cynthia. Allegedly, she was talking shit about Abhora instead, which is somehow supposed to make it all better. I just can't.
And I love how Abhora actually brought the shade back to her, saying that, sometimes some of the most talented people are the worst in the universe or something.
The shittiest people have the most talent.
That was great.
But we also will again repeat, when it comes to things that did not happen on screen, we are merely talking about the conversations that we have seen on the show and responding to them as best as possible. So that being said, let's talk about Dollya doing research, because
alleged.
Okay, I can't. Someone said, "How are you doing research without your phone?" They don't have phones.
She has to have Vivaldi's phone from Drag Race Holland.
Yes.
Like,
she doesn't have her
Vanessa
PhD
Van
in
Cartier
telecommunications for nothing.
It's gonna be a Vanessa Van Cartier, like, call her out, like, you have a cell phone, you're looking up stuff and everything.
Icon winner Vanessa Van Cartier. But when this started, of Dollya saying, I actually looked into it. At first I thought she was going to like apologize. And then she basically doubled down. And she goes, I mean, yeah, they do prescribe it, but you have to have someone administer it to you.
You have to have a doctor administer it for you. I'm like,
I'm literally on my couch last night watching the episode of Dragula right after it dropped, and I'm going, can you just apologize and say that you didn't understand the situation and that you took it the wrong way and just move on? Because that's not what happens here. The doubling, and honestly, she got called out for that too, and then she tripled down in confession, and she's like, look, all I did was what she told me to do. She told me to research it and to look it up, so I did. Like,
yeah.
Can't.
She's put herself in a lose-lose situation. It's like, either, she's BSing the research because they have their phones taken from them. They can't do any research. Or she did the research and it's like, why are you doubling down? Why are you making it worse for yourself? There's no way, unless she's like breaking the rules, that she would get this information, unless a PA like royally screwed up and like looked something up for her, which I think they would get in huge trouble if they did, even if it's something as small as this. So I don't think they would do that.
Let's imagine just as well the conspiracy theory as what she said this episode, that the PA that she was screaming at, allegedly, which we know later on, was so shocked and stunned that the PA had given her the phone so that she could do her research.
And the PA doesn't even remember, apparently, because Cynthia's like, bitch, it was you.
That's the dog.
Okay. But we're also mixing moments here, because the yelling part.
We'll get to that.
But then it comes into Sigourney, because what would drama on Dragula be without Sigourney Beaver? So here we go. It's coming again. It's about to happen, isn't it? Sigourney brings up that she feels like Dollya is intentionally trying to get people screwed over and taken out of the competition. Brings up her talking about the drinking incident in episode 1, and now this was Zavaleta, and she says it's not sitting right with her, and that if you want to try to get into people's heads, that's one thing, but you're messing with people's lives here, and it's not great. And then we go into Sigourney has an ego, and Sigourney is threatening people with her fans, and again, we don't see that in the episode, so we cannot comment on whether or not it is valid or not. But dear
A
God.
lot of people jump on the train. Yeah.
So let's take it like one line at a time. The Dollya trying to disqualify other candidates. What we're seeing on the edited product is kind of hinting that Dollya has this kind of mindset of like, I'm going to tell the teacher that, you're taking illicit substance, when no one's looking. And that's what's being edited to us. I'm not saying Dollya did this. This is clearly what the editors are wanting us to assume about Dollya. Second, Dollya did kind of deflect away from this and was just like, well, Sigourney, you are kind of like weaponizing your fan base. So I will say it's a little shady on Dahlia's point to just be kind of like completely redirecting the conversation. And everybody pounces on it because everybody seems to kind of agree that Sigourney does have this mindset of like, she's untouchable. Again, we have never seen the alleged incident of her saying any of this, but a lot of queens are like mirroring it. So that's what the edited product is telling us, is that Sigourney has kind of like I think the closest thing we got is that she doesn't directly threaten people with her fan base, but she's just kind of like hints at it jokingly. I think Jaharia said that. I
think well, we go ahead and touch on it now. During a conversation in the lab later in the episode, JK goes up to Sigourney and is like, hey, I just want to let you know how things are coming across so that way you can understand where people are coming from.
But she's not taking it. Yeah.
And she doesn't really take it very well. And in that moment, I'm like, oh God, is this real? I still don't fully know, and I'm not going to fully comment on how I feel about Sigourney doing or not doing this, because again, I don't have enough information, I feel like. Because there are other people in the competition that say she doesn't do that. So I'm still weighing it for me and like how I feel about it. But I will say Sigourney in this episode,
She kind
of needs to clean up. She kind of needs to refocus.
Because otherwise she's coming dangerously close to some other competitors on other reality shows who have come to their all-stars and kind of had a heel turn because of that. But kudos to Boulets. I know we're jumping slightly ahead, but during their like 2 one-on-one critiques, they said that Sigourney is kind of not doing her any favors because she was expecting different this competition this time around, and so she needs to focus because they don't want this edit for her. And it was very cool, like breaking this fourth wall that was being said by them.
Mm-hmm. And look, I'll give Sigourney some benefit of the doubt. Remembering what happened back in season 4 when it was airing, a lot of the monsters who were fighting with Sigourney in the Cauldron or whatever, they did get a lot of online hate because Sigourney was a fan favorite that season. And maybe I'm sure Sigourney got a lot of like flack for like how the fan base is reacting. Now, I think a lot of the fan base like frustration was warranted in a lot of cases for season 4. But be that as it may, if you're Sigourney and you're sitting there going like, oh, this is going to be a shitstorm online, like how do I kind of like make sure that it's not being perceived that way? I don't know. Maybe she kind of wants to kind of gently be like, hey, it's, I'm trying to give her a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that she's not just cynically weaponizing a fan base.
I mean, again, in this episode, we don't see it, and we haven't really seen it all season. I'll say the closest we got, I feel like, was in the first episode with Evah, for being like, are you sure that's what you want to do? But to me, that didn't really read as like a fan base thing. It was more of a, okay, now you're my target kind of energy. But again, if she is weaponizing it, it's a little dirty, and I don't think it's exactly fun. But at the same time, if you have the fans and and they're obviously, you don't want to just tell your fans to go attack someone because that you have a disagreement with them. But I mean, if I'm thinking about it from like a game playing perspective of like, if these people are afraid of me, maybe they won't come after me. And again, it's dirty and it's definitely not above board, but like, it's not the dirtiest thing I've seen on this season of Dragula.
You're right, but the thing is, for it to be successfully dirty, it's fun to say it like that way. She kind of has to acknowledge this and B, not double down on this. And in this episode, she kind of does the contrary. That's why we all got this kind of ew Sigourney impression afterwards, because even after Dollya confronts her about this, she basically goes, F you on her for bringing this up just before the lights go out. So
Yeah.
and later when JK tries to talk to her, she doesn't take it as well at all. And yeah, it's kind of weird so far.
Well,
we're definitely being shown
with JK, because that as the CEO and president of the JK fan club, I must
good taste.
I must of course. I must say, I think Jade could have picked a better time. I don't think right after she's still pissed about Dollya and she's pissed about getting cursed, when she'll talk about that in a second. I think maybe wait an episode and see if it comes up again. And if it comes up again, then go talk to Sigourney about it. Because, and I don't think Jade did anything wrong here. But when I see this person that I am worried about and I want to have a good conversation about their behavior with, and like a positive building conversation, and they're mad as fuck, is that the right time to have that conversation or not? I don't think so.
To be fair, sorry for making light of the situation. With that makeup that Sigourney was painting at that moment, she would seem mad as fuck in any particular scenario. Yeah.
True. But I have to think about, I mean, again, if there is one thing JK is not particularly skilled at, as we have seen from Dragula season 5, it's reading the room. So maybe that might be the problem here. I relate, honestly, but when we pull back the curtain here, I hope that we get a good resolution to this, because I love Sigourney. And I hope that, again, CEO of the Sigourney Beaver fan club. So I want to continue to have that role. And right now I'm not in danger of losing that, but I do think this episode was a bit like, okay.
Well, to put a bow on my thoughts on it, it's a clear storyline. The Boulets brought it up specifically in their critiques before the main critiques when they were bantering with each other. So it's definitely, whether or not it is, whatever the truth of the matter is, this is a storyline that's going to happen this season. If the Boulet brothers are talking about it, it's something that's important. So keep your eye on this. And if we don't see Sigourney in the edited product showing any signs of like improvement or relenting and kind of rethinking her actions in this regard on what we see on the edited product, is what I'm saying, then maybe be a little worried about Sigourney's longevity in this season, because that might be a growing sore spot for Sigourney here in Titans.
Hands down.
So we then move into the Boulet message, where we get told it's the Gothic Wedding Challenge. Our monsters are going to have to design 2 looks, one as the bride and one as the groom. How homophobic of you, Boulets. And
no fans this time, unlike season 2.
But they get told that these need to be gothic wedding looks, and that there should be some sort of readable connection between the bride and the groom. These aren't 2 separate looks, but pretty much other than that, carte blanche to do whatever they want. But it's time for a fright feat, aka pick a piece of cake and get lucky again. So we get another appearance by Vander. Hi, Vander, big fan. And our ghouls get given a piece of cake.
Maggots.
And real quick, when they're coming from the video, there's a hilarious shot of JK carrying Cynthia Doll. I just go back and watch it. Like, JK's face is so like, it's hilarious. And he's like carrying it like, like newlywed to the wedding bed kind of situation. It was like, what?
They were preparing it, by method acting.
But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're fine. But we get this Cleveland get told, yeah, this is a foul wedding cake. I hear that. I'm like, oh, God, what did you do to this damn cake? Well, they made a worm cake and a maggot cake and assorted other bugs cake. So they have to eat through this disgusting cake. And inside one of the pieces of cake is a wedding ring. And the winner, whoever gets the lucky piece of cake, whoever finds that piece of
random.
cake. Yeah, I'm sure it's random. Whoever finds that ring will get the power to curse one of their fellow competitors with being wet on the floor show. As in, they are going to get an entire bucket of water dumped all over them before they go out on the floor show. This is the worst punishment Dragula has ever done, by far. When it comes to the Fright feed punishments, I'm not saying it's like an extermination level thing, but I think about like you have to do your makeup in a porta potty. You have to be bald. Okay, you have to be completely wet on the floor show from head to toe. This is sadism. Like straight up, I'm here for it, but it's sadism.
I think that depends on the temperature of the water, first of all, and secondly, it's I agree with you, Brooke. It's the first time that this this curse like visibly affected the performance of the curse.
I was wondering. I think that they were like, you have to do it on the female one because this is exactly what they wanted. They wanted a wet gown that whoever had to do it had to carry a wet gown down the floor show. I don't think you could have chosen like the groom look. Maybe.
Quick sidebar, real quick. Imagine that Disasterina had this for the Gimp look.
That'd be hot.
Should be out of the bottom two immediately.
Maybe
we'll talk about it when we get there. But yeah, so all of this is just them using their face to dig through a nasty piece of cake. And the person who got lucky enough to be blessed with the ring was Jaharia. Why did it click twice? Yay, Jaharia. You got the RNG has blessed you. Yay.
I wish we at least got to see them pick the slices because this felt very like production thumbing the scale a little bit. It was very
we already had a random Fright feat like 2 episodes ago. We already picked the things out of the doll. Can it not just be you have to finish this piece of cake super fast with no hands, and whoever eats the cake the fastest gets this punishment or something like that? I don't know. But Jaharia wins the Fright feat, jazz hands, and curses Sigourney.
Adding hilariously that hope you take this better than when Evah put you up for extermination. Yeah.
Sigourney's pissed. It's delightful. But I do feel for her because like everyone's saying in this competition that they want to see her sweat, they want to see her work. I'm like, y'all, he hasn't even been in the top yet. Like I get it. I understand in the way of like she's got a big name coming into the season, and obviously she's one of the favorites coming in. But like I think was she high in episode 1, and then other than that, last week she didn't do a ton. She was safe. And she wasn't even second place in the first week. So like when we look at it from that perspective, like she's done fine so far. But there are other people who are consistently doing well that maybe you would want to go after. I am namely thinking of Evah Destruction.
This is right there.
But think about it from Jaharia's standpoint. Jaharia knows perfectly well that Evah would take like water off a duck's back pretty well. I don't think that Evah would like make a scene or whatnot. So yeah, I mean
Jaharia also could have thrown it at somebody who hadn't been doing particularly well and hoped she could sandbag them. Could have thrown it at Jade. Like I don't, as much as I like Jade, Jaharia and Sigourney and Jade and Evah, right? I honestly think that of everyone that was competing this week, this might have been like a bottom 3 choice for this in terms of how effective it was, because even without the water, I don't know how well Sigourney would have done in this floor show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
I kind of agree. And she hasn't been close to I don't think she hasn't even been close to a win, in my opinion,
not
yet in
not
the
I
contest.
I think in the first challenge she was third, which I think is pretty fair. And I will say, had the judging not been the way the judging was, I think she probably would have been high. I think if it was judged in groups, they were the high group, and if it was judged, they would have won. And if it was judged individually completely, I think she would have been third or fourth. So like the first week, you could argue she was close to a win, but she wasn't high the first week. She wasn't. She's been safe both weeks. Like, I mean, arguably, she even got saved the first week. You could make that argument, like she should have been up for extermination. So, like,
you could have argued this week and last week. We'll get to this week. You could make the case she was in the bottom for either of those weeks, in my honest opinion. So,
well, we then go to the back and forth of Sigourney and Dollya both trying to get people on their side. Sigourney is relatively successful. Dollya is not. Evah is not getting involved, and
she goes to one person.
Evah's the only person that likes her. It seems like from what everybody's saying, nobody else really likes her. Well, apparently Jaharia does, but Jaharia is like she needs to learn how to shut her mouth and not get involved in things. But Evah's like, look, I respect you and I care about you, and you know I know that, but I also am not going to get involved in this. And Dollya seems a bit deflated by that.
She says that it fell on dead ears. Yeah, sorry.
And then we go look in the sewing room, and Sigourney has basically rallied an army against Dollya Black.
Dollya Black has united the sides of Zava and then Jade and Sig into one against her. Like, I was like, I never thought I would see the day. But season 4 has united against Dollya.
Especially after my personal favorite moment of any Dragula Cauldron ever, which is Jade and Zavaleta chirping at each other and these like really high voices for no reason. And then Zavaleta goes, we're best friends. Like that. And then fuck off. Fuck off. Like, seeing the three of them, because Sigourney was involved in that too, the three of them finding a way to coexist peacefully against someone else, that tells me all I need to know.
Yes, and plus Cynthia, and given the fact that during this infamous fight, Jade and Zava were basically going, who's going to out Taylor Swift each other, this one is literally the piece title, Look What You Made Me Do, Sigourney, because it was exactly that.
So yeah, so we get to see this. We get a couple of looks at what some people are doing. We find out that JK is going for this like bouquet of roses vibe with their looks. We don't really get to see a ton of the construction, but that's what we hear. Disasterina is going for dominatrix and gimp. We'll see how that turns out. But for the most part, we don't really get a ton of construction happening here. It's just mostly, I hate Dollya Black. I hate Dollya Black. And that's pretty much all we get for like a good 10 minutes of the episode is just everyone hates Dollya. And Dollya is just like, Evah, be my friend. And he was like,
And we'll get into it. It comes back up. We'll talk about it when we get to the Cauldron. But this is definitely a storyline this week. I wrote that down. I was like, wow, we got a lab segment. I'm so surprised that we put the drama down for 5 seconds to get a lab segment.
You know, I complained about it a little bit last week, but I honestly don't know how much of the drama they could cut out because everybody's chirping at each other so much. It's kind of hard to follow if you don't see everything, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. This is like, it's like 95% drama and just like 5% drag. It feels like.
But I mean, it's fine. Anyway, we got a great runway. And yeah, just before we go to the runway, we have this infamous scene with JK and Sigourney. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to touch on it too much because we did kind of already talk about it, but it's mostly just JK being like, hey, let me check in. But also, I want to tell you why people are saying these things so that way you can understand where people are coming from. And to be honest with you, I honestly think Jay was coming from a real place here.
Yes.
I think Jay comes from a place where he feels he was in a similar position on his season that Sig was on season 4 and was like, I understand what it's like when everybody is coming at you and you feel really cornered. Execution is key, JK. I don't think this was the best timing or the best delivery. I think it was a little strangely brought to Sig, but I do agree. I think it came from a genuine place.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Sig thinks it's fake, and that's not going to look on well on
the record scratch.
Yes.
It had me rolling.
Yeah, I'm just a little. It's kind of hard for me in this particular moment of like where my head's at with it. Because again, I do think JK went about this at the totally wrong time and tried to have this conversation when it was not the right time to do it. But at the same time, if I'm Sigourney, right? And I hear this and it seems, and like I'm assuming, seen Dragula season 5, right? I know that JK is going to say whatever they feel like whenever they want. I don't think Jay would lie like that to me. So there is that like bit of indecision that can naturally come. But here we are. So we're ready to get into the floor show.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and get into these looks, everybody. So first off, please give me a moment to thank. I'm so excited because our guest judges this week are Dead Meats, James A. Janice, and Chelsea Rebecca. Oh my God. The only person I think I have ever fangirled more being a guest judge on a drag show is Jennifer Tilly. So
I was gonna say Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah. As well.
And wait for Jennifer Tilly to be a guest judge on the season.
She's coming back.
She's coming back. So for those of you who were not here when we covered Dracula season 6, when Jennifer Tilly got announced as a guest judge, I literally cried. Because I fucking love Jennifer Tilly. These two, on the other hand, I screamed at the top of my lungs in excitement. I am so excited to see both of them here. James and Chelsea are one of the hottest couples I have ever seen in my entire life. And I hate them a little bit for that. But they have really played a massive part in exposing a larger generation of people to not only horror in general, but a lot of older horror properties that a lot of people just aren't familiar with, which, you know who else has done that? The Boulets. Like, that's kind of what both of them have done, is bring horror to the masses, just different parts of the world, different parts of, pop culture. So I think this is one of the best guest judging choices we have ever had on Dragula. Thank fuck.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think often we see horror is kind of like pushed off to the side as kind of like trash, like entertainment and stuff like that. And I think people like James A. Janice and I forget her name. Sorry,
Chelsea Rebecca.
Yeah, that's what
Chelsea Rebecca, the host and owner of the Dead Meat podcast, icon, legend, queen, the moment, voice acting goddess, Chelsea Rebecca.
I got all that. I'll say that next time. I think they've done such a good job of showing like the artistry and the hard work that goes into making any kind of horror, even if it's like high art horror, or if it's schlocky slasher horror. There's an art form to it all. And I love that they're on here because it is the spirit of Dragula. These are the perfect judges to have for this show.
Yeah. And also the crazy thing about Dragula too is that, and about Dead Meat, is that they both have such interesting horror connections that it kind of feels like a natural pairing to me. From what James has mentioned, I believe the Boulets are going to be making a guest appearance on the Dead Meat podcast, which if that happens, I'm going to freak the hell out. And apparently they both had a fantastic time, and we have heard from both sides that they loved working together. I'm hoping this becomes a regular thing.
Every season.
It's like them, Tananarive Do, Jennifer Tilly. Like, these are the regular people I need to see every year.
I think Mancini's coming back too.
John Mancini, my king. I love him as well.
Who was the father-daughter pairing on season 5 of the semifinals? They were also very funny.
Was it Brad and Fiona?
I don't know.
As judges. Oh yeah.
Was it Brad and Fiona Dorff? I would have loved if it was Brad and Fiona Dorff, but I don't think it was. Because I would have remembered that, I feel. But
Poppy is also very fun guest judge for all the wrong reasons, but she's very fun to look at.
I don't know why people don't like. And something that's always been interesting to me about Dragula is that every year we have new guest judges coming in and some of these other names coming back, but really they never have. I mean, they never have expanded the judging panel. I know Landon came in a couple times in the same season and was considered a recurring judge, but Landon, I think, was only in 3 episodes. So when I look at this panel and I'm like, compare it to Drag Race, where it seems like we have 90 judges and they all just kind of pop in whenever they want. I don't know who they could realistically add to the Dragula judging panel that would give consistent quality judging outside of Tananarive Due and Jennifer Tilly, like really. And maybe if maybe David Desmalchin if he's not busy, because I know he comes pretty much every season nowadays.
And he's
I was thinking him too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Elvira, make her come back regularly. Yeah, she's very good.
Can we also get Felissa Rose back? Because she was a fantastic guest judge on season 6. I loved Felissa on season 6. Beside the point, yay, Dead Meat's here, yay.
And I do like this look on the Boulets. This is a great look.
This is.
I like all of it but the hair. Not a huge fan of the hair. But other than that, it's a nitpick.
They're into small hair recently.
Brook is not a hair; it's a device to hold the veil. So
I know, and that kind of makes it worse. Because if it was just like a stylistic choice of the hair, I'd be finer with it. But I don't know. It's Gothic, and when I think Gothic, I just think of big hair. Like small hair and Gothic don't really pair very well in my brain. I think Gothic. I think Victorian style hair or super long, dark 90s, 80s movies that are also trying to be Gothic that have that modern day hair for some reason. This
Robert Smith.
Yeah, this bump of a haircut is not doing it for me. But other than that, James looking great in that suit though. Hi James. I know you're taking it married and happily so, but hi. All right, so let's get into it. First up, Cynthia Doll.
We're gonna
talk about that in a second.
So do we want to go ahead and just are we doing the looks individually, like the bride and the groom?
I think we can speed run this because I do. There are a lot of looks to talk about this week.
Yes.
So I think the easiest way to say is this. I think out of every groom on this floor show, this was in my top 3. Personally, I think this. James brought it up. This book accurate. Chelsea brought it up. This book accurate Dracula is just a stunningly great choice. I think she absolutely nailed the assignment there. I do think the bride is a little safe, for lack of a better word, in terms of it is a Gothic bride. You did the assignment and you did the assignment well. But a lot of people also did the assignment and did the assignment well on the bride. And I don't think it's bad by any means. I think it's a great look. It's just not as much of a standout as one or two other bride looks that I also thought were really great. That's just me.
I think for me, I agree with the groom look. It'll become a recurring critique from me that the groom looks feel like they were very second thought for a lot of the contestants. But this was definitely not. This looked great. I thought it was well styled. There was a concept. I really love the bride look too. I think for me, especially coming from Cynthia, who has kind of a different aesthetic usually on the floor show, this is so gorgeous from Cynthia. And I'm just so happy to see her in this glamorous, gorgeous, like Gothic gown. She sold the hell out of it. This is hot tea for me. Both looks.
Yeah, I'll try to first of all give tea or bag for the entirety of the thing. So both looks, how they sold it, how they got the connection between the two looks, and if it fitted the prompt well. So here I think Cynthia literally delivered on almost all of it, except for maybe the connection between the two, and that's probably why she finally didn't win, spoiler, this episode, but this would be such a deserving win for me as well. I love her bride's look. I instantly recognized that it was Dragula when she first went off as a groom, and I think the performance was like hella good. So if for JK say the redemption moment, the glamour redemption moment was episode 1, when she got Victoria's critique on being glamour, and this was Cynthia's moment, that Cynthia, you finally high glamour, and this was unique and different for her. So yeah, total tea for me, very hot.
I did not mention if this was tea or bag. These are both tea. These are both really great.
Yes.
And I will agree. It will. Oh, and let's talk about that too. So at the end of this floor show, all of the divas come out in their bride looks, or was it their groom looks? I think
it was groom looks. I think
groom looks, and they're just kind of busting it down on the floor show. I should say though, Cynthia was busting it down harder than pretty much anyone else in this floor show. And we even hear in the beginning of the episode that apparently while they were in Neotropolis, they went to the club, and Cynthia was apparently the best dancer.
The very same moves.
Yeah, doing the same moves.
Cynthia?
And JK brought it up in the confessional. Hilarious. Yeah.
Okay, I'm a bit of a...
We hear that about Cynthia, because coming into the season, the only person I would consider a good dancer on this cast was JK. So like, and Jaharia.
Jaharia.
Yeah, I forgot about Jaharia, but yes. So yeah, Cynthia did a fantastic job in this challenge for me.
I mean, I'm a big circuit bunny. I'm a big rave head. So I love to dance and everything like that. So Cynthia, if we're ever at the same rave, like I'm gonna go find you on the dance floor. Let's dance. Like, it's fun to just find somebody who is such a free spirit. She looked like a free spirit. I love those energies on the dance floor. So that made me smile. So.
All right. So next up we have Disasterina. I'm not doing the voice, y'all. I can't.
Disasterina.
So how do I say this without sounding pretentious? I don't think it was executed very well. I think the concept is really fun and creative. I think in the right circumstances, this could, in theory, be a winning package. The problem is really the groom look for me, because it feels... I can't think of a better way to say it. It just feels unfinished. It feels incomplete. It feels like... And again, I don't know how much more she could have done with this to make it feel more complete in terms of like what she was going for with the look. But like, if you know the challenge is Gothic Wedding and you have to put equal emphasis into your bride and your groom, and you can't really do that with your concept, does that not mean you should change the concept? It's kind of just where my head's at. I think the bride look is actually pretty solid, all things considered. Which also birthed one of my favorite lines we've ever had on Dragula, from Cynthia Doll saying, "Who would take that? I wouldn't take that." And it goes into these like repetitive lines where she basically starts scatting. Yeah. Which I tried to clip it and I couldn't because Shudder. But if I have the opportunity to clip that in the future, we will be getting that reaction as a button, because oh dear God, I've rewinded it and watched it like 4 times. Yeah, not my favorite look from Disasterina. This will be going in the bag for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a bag for me as well. I will say I love the concept. I love that there is a gender role swap of the bride and the groom. There's this traditional kind of subservience like society expects of women. but it's like flipped on its head, and the groom is the one who's subservient, and it's the wife who is the domineer and dominatrix. I love a lot of the elements of the dominatrix look. I think it isn't executed in the cleanest way for me. I've seen cleaner looks from Disasterina that had a lot more polish earlier this season. So this was kind of more of a below what I know Disasterina can provide here. But I love the concept. As far as the groom look, it is just too simple for me. I love the idea of like a sort of kind of sissy groom gimp concept. There just needs to be something more, even if it's just like a full kind of like gimp latex outfit suit that kind of shows the kind of like gimp, sissy, subservient nature that Disasterina was going for. I think it would have served a lot better. I get that Disasterina was going for like these panties, kind of like feminizing the man, making the man kind of look sissy and all that. I get the concept there. It just was not executed well for me. This was a bag, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was some aspects of it. I want to love this look. Like the idea is great. I think that the groom look, the gimp look, could have been elevated, just not even elevated, but fully fit into the concept by simply putting on the most basic like groom outfit, like, a tuxedo and a white shirt under all this that she's already had. And that would work like much better, because otherwise, ironically, as a groom, she looks like Cynthia Doll looked in season 5 in her Brian Apprentice when she first came to our eyes. The bride look is so much better, but also, yeah, I agree with Mike. There are some unfinished details, e.g. the paintings, on her hands, which don't fit with her face. So I think if it was like the same color, it would be so much more effective. I loved how during the critiques she said these spikes are from titanium and they're very heavy. With her slightly jarred, jaded voice, but unfortunately it's a bag, though I really, really, really am sad that it wasn't better.
Yeah, I just feel bad because, like we have mentioned several times on this podcast, we all love Disasterina. So it always hurts whenever you have to just talk negatively about your fave. But yeah, this just wasn't up to par with what Disasterina has served in the past. Special shout out to James for saying that the spikes looked flimsy, because I agree. And if that is titanium is not as strong of a metal as I thought.
Yeah, they could have been shaped differently. They look like they're painted cardboard, honestly.
What I was going to say is they kind of look like they got spray painted. And what can happen with spray paint, and we see it all the time, is that it's uneven. That's kind of the whole point. So that way, when you spray something with spray paint, it's not all going to come out and make this like perfect uniform thing. What can happen when you do that, though, if these were spray painted, which I think they were, it leaves the material not looking as uniform, which can make it look less sturdy. So that can work for certain things, but when it comes to a spike, maybe not. Maybe not the best idea. If this was just pure titanium, I wouldn't even spray painted it. I would just left the spikes as they were.
Maybe polished it.
Maybe polish it a little bit, yeah. So moving on to Priscilla Chambers. Bag. I think the bride look is good. It's fine. It's really safe, but I think it's good and fine. I think this is one of my least favorite grooms on the runway. It's not giving me Gothic. It's giving me Vegas Magician. And it's giving me Elvis as a Vegas Magician. Priscilla, I love you, girl. I really do. I'm a big fan. I just didn't get Gothic from this, like, hardly at all. Like, to me, this is like if somebody called Chris Angel, like somebody called Chris Angel and was like, hey, can you do an Elvis Presley look? And like pad? Because it just doesn't, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. Like, it bothers me how much it like pulls me out of everything. I don't see a connection between the bride and the groom either. They feel very separate to me. So yeah, this is just not my favorite thing Priscilla has ever worn in the bag.
I'll agree that the looks aren't the most elevated that we've seen, that we know that Priscilla can bring. I actually thought they both were actually kind of nice. I do agree that it's not necessarily goth, especially on the groom. The groom kind of gave me hair metal vibes. I think the connection was kind of, the wigs are similar. The wigs are very similar. I think also the face like paint scheme is kind of similar. It's threadbare, I know, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I like it well enough to give it a very light tea. Like you steeped it for like 10 seconds tea. But I like it more than I don't like it, for me.
I'm gonna give this like a very tepid tea as well, and I can see the connection because I think that this is like Frankenstein's bride in her brain. So this is like Frankenstein dressed as Corey Feldman doing whatever music he's making now, and yeah, the bride is the bride. She's doing like this Susie Sue hair and whatnot, like, so it is kind of gothy in this regard, and they're connected by the story because yeah, it was like Frankenstein if he was overdressed in Elvis costume, and then it's the bride. But just for the very simplicity of the concept, and also because she didn't like perform the hell out of it as a groom. As a bride, she was having much more of her life. I'd still give this a bit tea. Yeah.
The bride look just gives me such Lydia Dietz energy that it's kind of hard for me to like. I think it might be the hair or maybe just the way the bottom is shaped. But like, I've seen the bootleg of Beetlejuice on Broadway. Okay, that dress isn't as big, but I can tell you the bottom is shaped the same way, and like the hair is similar enough. I don't know. I wish I liked it more. I really do. I just don't. So bag. I apologize. Moving on to Dollya Black. Someone else go first. I don't want to be negative again.
I will say this. It is just like high highs and low lows for me, because I think this is one of the most gorgeous bride looks of the night. I also think this is one of the worst groom looks for me of the night. So I actually really like this bride look. I think it's really glamorous. Goth, maybe. It's kind of a question mark. The groom look is such a crime to me. It's so boxy. It's not fitted very well. I think it was kind of an afterthought because I think she focused on the bride look. So I come out kind of giving it a slight T, but really it's the groom look pulling down what I think is a really great bride look. So
to quote Cynthia, she should have been in the bottom just for her attitude. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I do almost agree with Mike. Actually, I think the bride's look is pretty phenomenal. Does it give goth? Not necessarily. Not all things goth should be black, but this is kind of stretching pretty far away into like some King Arthur legend mythological land. And the groom does belong to the same universe, just not as the groom of that bride. And yeah, for that like lack of connection and her kind of clearly more inspired performance and just moving on as a bride, I would still give it a slight bag, actually. It's slightly more on the baggier side.
I was going to say the groom kind of looks like father of the bride to me.
Exactly. He looks like, the fairy godfather.
Yeah, bag. And like, I like the bride a lot. I think the bride is really great. And I agree. Not all things gothic need to be black. I think the bride is totally good. I don't think it's groundbreaking, and I don't think it's even in my top 4 or 5 brides from this challenge. But I think it's a really well executed look, and it's doing the assignment very well. I think this is the worst groom we have on the runway tonight, by far. Out of all 14 grooms, this is my least favorite. Because when she walks, like, when that's my response to a look on Dragula. Oh Lord! Because even with Disasterina having an unfinished look, at least I got the connection, right? Like they said, she could have just put some sort of, I don't know how, but she could have put a crown on the queen or the bride, and that would have made it look better. Why is there a crown on this man's head and there's nothing for the bride? That's confusing. These clothes do not fit her. They just don't. They and it's not like they're in that. And I know we don't critique fit as much on this channel because we do acknowledge that a lot of these looks are pre-made and your weight might fluctuate when you're in the competition. But like, I don't think it's going to fluctuate significantly by episode 3 is the way I look at it. And it's not even like this got water thrown on it and it shrunk and it was too tight or something. It's literally just doesn't fit her. It's not tailored well. And also, when I saw the pillow, I'm like, oh, he's the ring bearer. Because that's the vibe it gives. And, like, this is just not good to me at all for this assignment. I think, minus the fit issues, I think this is a perfectly serviceable look. Like, if it fit her better, I think it would be fine. But for the assignment, it's just not giving. And the connection isn't there for me, regardless of the color palette similarities. As such, I think Dollya should have been in the bottom, not because of her attitude, because of her look. I think this was a bottom-worthy package. I would say low. I could see her being low this week instead of in the bottom, but no.
Yeah. I think actually, imagine if waterboarding curse was put on Dollya, that would probably actually enhanced look and made it better.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Blackberri.
Mike, touch with the pole.
So I'll say I love the story that Blackberri told. It's a very harrowing story. There's this serious horror in the American slave trade system that Blackberri is commenting on here. And I love that she brought that story to us. I think Draga's art, I think that's beautiful. The problem I will have, and this is all I'll say about this, is like, I don't think it fit the prompt necessarily well. I just think that it just didn't fit Gothic Wedding. I think it's a beautiful story. I love that Blackberri told it. It just didn't fit the prompt for me. That's all I'll say about that.
But they're teeing it or bagging it. Okay.
Oh, it's a slight bag. Only because it doesn't fit the prompt. If it fit the theme, it would be a totally hot tea. That's the only reason it's a bag for me.
Yeah, I do have the same problem with this look. I think the idea is great. I think it would have fit another category perfectly well, like, literally like something either slavery related or like more political, or just like railroad. By the way, it could have been such a great comment on Underground Railroad. My other slight problem is, and I'm going to put it very delicately, that while Blackberri was acting out the bride, it kind of, oddly enough, I don't know why, maybe because of the similarities of like the silhouette or whatnot, or like the gestures, it was kind of at times giving her performance during Horror in the Woods challenge, where she was having all these marshmallows in her, so it kind of made it lighter than it probably should have been. I wouldn't say like bordering on like a bit too lighthearted, but I don't know. It was slightly kind of seemed kind of off in that regard. And I just don't think it gets Gothic Wedding at all. I get there is also like this subgenre of Gothic novels, and they sometimes do touch the theme of slavery, but still it's like a very, very, very long stretch. So for that, unfortunately, I would give Blackberri a bag. Second week in a row. Who could have predicted this on season 5? But yeah.
I'm gonna disagree to a point. Do I think these looks are like the best thing Blackberri's ever worn Dragula? No. One, the theme and the story is very important. I am fully with you both there, obviously. I actually really love the bride. I think the bride is kind of perfect, to be honest with you. And I think the groom is also really well executed in terms of the look and what the vibe and the story that Blackberri is telling. My problem is that I don't really get a ton of Gothic from it. But I will say, though, I think there was an easy way to do Gothic here, and maybe not in the way that Blackberri wanted. If she would have just put some fangs in the groom's mouth, I think that could have really sold this look. But that's just it's just a me thing. I think making it a little bit more than, I mean, again, it's kind of hard to talk about this look without pulling it away from the story, because you don't want to take away this powerful story that is being told with these looks in a way that detracts from it. But you also need to find a way to bolster the look in a way to make the look competition appropriate as well. But I think these looks are both really good independent of the challenge, which is why I would give it tepid T, even if I acknowledge that I'm not entirely getting Gothic from the groom. I'm getting it from the bride. I want to be clear. Like we said a minute ago, Gothic doesn't have to be black. And honestly, it doesn't have to be an intense color either. This like white wedding gown with just the intensity and the way the fabric is setting, that gives me Gothic. The groom, it's a billowy tux, so sure, but it just feels like it needs a little bit more to hit that Gothic mark for me, where I would be like, yeah, this is a Gothic look. So tepid T, but that's just where I'm at with it. Moving on. Next up, we have Zavaleta. Now, I would like to go ahead and get everything out of the way from me. I think the bride look was totally okay. I think it was a fine, well-designed garment. I gagged the fuck at this groom. I don't give a damn what the judges say about this. I think this was one of the best looks of the night for me. Talking about the hat blocking her face, that's kind of the point, James. That's kind of the point. Love you, James. Big fan. That's kind of the point. I don't know how many people here have played Persona, but there's a Persona. It's this big white demon. He's got like a pentagram on his hat, but he's standing on these big tall stilts. And he's like, it literally, this is that for me, only just like a Zavaleta-fied version of that. And I think this look, and again, I don't normally care for stilt looks because I think a lot of them are just kind of using stilts for no reason and are just kind of there as like, this look is plain, what can I do? Stand on stilts! The stilts here add so much to this look. I think it gives this really menacing quality that really elevates this to a really high level for me. Now, in terms of Gothic bride and Gothic groom, I don't know if I'm getting that from it, but I just can't help but say that this look was just so well executed that I kind of didn't care. So for me, T as hell, and I really love this groom look. I think this is immaculate.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of in agreement with you. I'll give more praise on the bride look. I loved the shape of this dress. I thought it was very fashionable. It definitely shows a lot of knowledge of fashion and shape of dress. I think that's something that Zavaleta has shown that she has in this competition. The groom, I totally agree. Me and Jonathan both gagged when we saw this. The only thing pulling from it is that, and we'll talk about it later, Zavaleta was like, she was going for a Gomez Adams type character. I don't get that at all. I get kind of like, who's the villain in Princess and the Frog? What's his name again?
Dr. Facilier.
Yeah, it's kind of that. It's kind of giving me very kind of voodoo creature, like master. That was what I was getting from it. That's got from the hat, the long mustache, the long bony fingers. I thought I loved the look of this. I do agree. It's not necessarily the most gothic, but it was just so well done for me. This is a hot tea for me.
Yeah. It's interesting that we had another Gomez Adams later on, who was much more successfully translated to the runway. This is very hot tea for me, and I think that one of the main themes of like Gothic novels and genre as well is specifically a woman marrying death. And so instead of like an ordinary groom, they're having death. And Zava's interpretation with stills feels perfectly well, also with her Mexican heritage in this regard. So yeah, I don't give two flying tosses about to the fact that I couldn't see her face, because that was kind of the point. Yeah, I would have just dropped the Addams family voiceover altogether from the commentary. And the bride looks great as well. She looks kind of like Yorona before transformation into this like dead lady, and I think I can see the connection from this point on. Like, she's literally marrying like death on two legs, onto stilts. And yeah, hot tea for me. Wouldn't have been in my bottom three, like with a poll.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about it when we get there, but bottom three is ridiculous. But so moving on, we have JK. Everything's coming up roses, or I guess going down roses, or roses. Micha, what do you think about it?
Okay, this is the final evolution of the marshmallow sticks from the very first episode of season 5 where JK appeared. Now they just transformed into roses, and now they're penetrating the groom and the bride inside and out, and so their Glamazon Beach is ready for the runway. I love the connection. Really, I think the connection is sold clear as well.
Hold on, you can't just drop the Kennedy Davenport quote into this and move on. You can't just do that, Micha.
But I didn't die.
I hit Priscilla. And I'm a Glamazon bitch. Yeah, ready for the runway. I don't know why they decided to half sing it as Corky.
Glamazon bitch ready for the runway as a sound clip. We have so many new sound clips we need to get.
After a long night of hooking.
After a long night of hooking.
The Rose didn't like the Rosarium. Yeah, but this was indeed the Rosarium of it all. I loved the before, I loved the after. I think the evolution of JK into the Glamazon bitch has gone successfully, really well. Starting from her pink himbo bear in episode 1, and now we get this. And yeah, very hot tea for me. Piping, because the connection of the two looks is evident. She sold the hell out of both of them. This is one of the best grooms we've had. Just love the color scheme, love the red on the inside. Yeah, this is so good. And also the body paint on the bride, just like chef's kiss.
Yeah, no, I love this look. I love the inverted roses motif on the bride. I love that it's like literally an upside down bouquet of roses. I also love that the roses were stoned. JK has such an attention to detail this season, and it's really, really showing. It's honestly stunning. I love the groom look as well. Let's see. I love that there was kind of an androgynous theme to the groom as well. It wasn't necessarily fully masculine. And I think that's something that JK does a lot. That's really, really well done. Makeup is excellent. Obviously, they connect well. Roses is a very gothic theme as well. So I think it fits the prompt perfectly well. I will say it's a minor nitpick. The little kind of like neck piece on the groom kind of distorts the face a little bit. I would have maybe kind of tailored it back a little bit. That is a minor nitpick, because this is hot tea for me. This is piping hot tea for me.
That was the controversy we were waiting.
It is so nice to not have to come on this podcast and defend JK anymore. Of be like, no, I like the look. I don't love it, but I like it. No, I love this. This is great. Because if you watch the season 5 coverage, I was sometimes the only person that was writing for what JK was bringing every week. I do not think they should have been in the bottom for Monsters of Rock. I think that Sing Kid look is great, and whatever. Was that the point? I think here, and it should have been Throb and
Jarvis.
Jarvis. Yes, thank you very much. That should have been your bottom 2 that week. Thank you, Buzz Lightyear, Elvis. Beside the point. This is just so creative and so beautiful while also completely getting the assignment. This is the kind of thing I love seeing on Dragula, where somebody gets an assignment, right? And says, okay, I'm doing this and this. How can I turn this and this into something more that still keeps the aesthetic of the assignment? Because on paper, these looks are kind of simple, right? I mean, it's a black dress with white makeup, and then whatever the male look is, that big collar on this black and red outfit. But by giving us a concept with these roses that just shows so much, by really showing not very much at all, it just adds and elevates this look to that high standard that I really think very few people are consistently able to pull off. This has been a third great week for JK at the start of this competition. Keep your eyes out for JK as we keep moving in, because like we've mentioned with a couple other people, like I'll say specifically Jaharia and Evah, right? The 3 of them have yet, I'm knocking on wood, have yet to miss on this runway. They are bringing it every week. I don't know what you're gagging for. She gives it to you every episode. Like, that's where we're at this point. This is so good. It is the second best thing JK has ever worn on Dragula. And we all know what number 1 is. I don't need to mention the look. You know what I'm talking about. Scalding hot tea.
I will say, I said in this episode, just seeing how JK is being edited and everything, I was like, he's really a front runner. And Jonathan, who has not been the biggest JK fan, did not disagree with me. He was like, you know what? Yeah. So JK is making everyone a believer, and I'm happy. I'm glad that JK is having this redemption arc and getting the flowers that he deserves. So good on you, JK.
Literal flowers.
John will
Yeah.
have words next time I see you. So moving on, we have Abhora.
I can start on this one.
Sure.
I like the story being told here. It's really kind of funny and a little goofy. It's kind of it's Abhora. I like both of the looks. I think they're both perfectly serviceable. My main issue is that the theme I'm getting from this is mobster, and that is like completely not Gothic at all. Like I just don't get Gothic when you think about like 1930s mobster with cement shoes and being thrown into the river kind of deal. And then they throw the wife in as well because she'll talk and she'll spill on all the mob secrets. I love the story. I thought it was fun. I just didn't get Gothic from it, but it's good enough for me as both looks that I'll give it a T.
I just tried to, having watched the episode, I tried to look through. Maybe I forgot somebody of Corpse's bride character to kind of tie with the groom, because the bride is kind of giving. It's given both Tim Burton and what Abhora was simultaneously the winner and the bottom 3 for in the only so far Gothic Wedding challenge on her original season 2. In the top 5 when Disasterina coincidentally went home. I still enjoy.
Maybe Gothic Wedding is just not Disasterina's 5.
Exactly. I do enjoy the bride immensely. Unfortunately, Abhora also suffered from this problem that groom kind of looks not exactly as an afterthought, but is kind of misplaced and not very tight, pun intended, to the bride. So Yeah, it's still a T for me, but it's not like piping at all. I think for given how disastrous some floor shows Abhora had before, and how weird her body language can be, for this bride, especially, this worked. So yeah, in this scenario, it's still given a T from me, but yeah, pretty lukewarm, because yeah, the the groom was not kind of giving.
I don't like it. And not in the I don't think it's a great fit for the challenge kind of way. I just don't like it. I don't think it's a really well done outfit, to be honest. I don't think it's and okay, that's not true. I think it's a well executed look. I just don't like it visually, personally. I think it just looks kind of standard Abhora. And again, I've been kind of defending Abhora on this panel this season. I have been very complimentary both weeks, the first 2 weeks of Abhora. I just don't think it fits this challenge at all. I would have had Abhora in the bottom for this because legitimately, I'm not getting Gothic. It's giving me we're married, but it's not giving me wedding. You know what I mean? So like, I mean the bouquet is, but like the groom isn't at all. So like, and honestly, the groom isn't even really giving me groom. Like maybe the tuxedo shoes in a way are like giving me a little bit of that, but it's kind of giving me magician again. So I would have had Abhora in the bottom bag.
I kind of agree with you. I wasn't getting groom. I was getting like mobster, the pinstripe nature of the suit and everything. It was just very different than goth or groom.
Pinstripes? Who wears pinstripes? Mobsters and magicians.
Fair. Yeah, there you go.
In Abhora's world, every groom is a magician, I think.
I mean, yes, of course.
Every magician is a groom.
But not all groom is a magician. Yeah. All right. Finally, we have Jade Jolie.
I'll start. Yeah, this is the ultimate bag of it all. I mean, I'm so sorry. That probably was the bottom one for me overall. This not the first week in this competition, unfortunately for Jade, but maybe the last. As
Talk
we've
about
seen later on. I mean, the groom is like, what the hell is this retired Liberace, like Matt Damon version? Who's like, what is this candelabra? It has nothing to do with anything. I mean, yeah, it has velvet. I give you that. The performance was just as sedated as if she had some substances on her, which would calm the hell out of her. By the end of the episode, the bride was slightly more lively. Yeah, not all like red or black colors must give away gold, but oh my god, this is just not Jade's competition at all. This is not her season, not only her episode. This is not her season at all. No. This is like the most tote bag. This is a body bag.
Jade. This was not the time to advertise Taylor Swift's new album. It just
Afterlife of a Showgirl.
Afterlife of a Showgirl. And like, it's just, why did you not come out with the damn veil and the balloons in the first place? Because that was cute and that added so much to this look, and you literally walked the floor show without it. And then I look at the groom look, and I'm like, oh, you really did not plan for this. Like, and I know we've mentioned it with a couple people of like, we really feel like the groom was secondary. I feel like the groom was tertiary for Jade this week. Maybe even quaternary. Like, this is just, and for context, Cynthia, if you're watching, I'm kidding. This is just
so tertiary.
It's just so. I like the candelabra. I like the candelabra quite a bit. think that's a great aspect here. Everything else on the groom feels so. I am putting this on and wearing it because I have to. She's not even really selling me anything in the face with the groom. And I thought that during the challenge too, not just from the still. Bag, obviously, but like this is just upsetting as a Jade fan. For these first 3 episodes, have just been like. I also wonder, sometimes it happens on these shows where some people have certain looks that are just like the most elevated conceptual things you will ever see in your life. And then you have a couple other looks that are like, yeah, I can coast. I can just make it through this week. And I have to wonder a little bit, maybe if Jade just happened to have all of her coasting looks like super early, and we just didn't get to see some of her more elevated concepts, because Jade can do elevated, good work, and we've seen her do it before. So it's just a little bit disappointing to see where Jade is at this competition right now.
Yeah, I have the same sort of critique. You like the candelabra, Brook? I hate the candelabra. I hate really everything about the groom look. I think it's such an afterthought. It's ill-fitting. It wasn't sold well. It does not give goth in the slightest. The candelabra is the closest thing to goth that it has, and like I didn't even like it. She was just holding it. I don't get bride and groom. It's a cute look. It's a cute look. Like the bride look is a cute look, but it does not give me bride. It does not give me goth. I don't think she sold it. That whole little balloons with the skull and everything, I don't know why that was like footage that we saw in the critique and we didn't see it here. So I don't know what was going on there, but still, I don't even think it elevates the look too much more than we already saw. I do have to question at this point, like, Jade, what are you doing in this competition? Like, are you really here to kind of, really go at it and show what you have, prove to people that you are a monster, or what is her reason for coming in, or just to make TV? I mean, we love good TV. I'm not going to blame you if that's what you want to do, but like I think a lot of us were hoping that she would make good TV and show us like what a monster she was. And I'm just not seeing the effort being brought here. This was the worst presentation on the floor show tonight. This was a bag for me.
I loved how during the critiques, judges said, you elevated your look literally, and the balloons were like shown.
I like the bride look with the balloons and the veil, because that red bride and the bouquet. Without those elements, it's just giving. Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl. Like
exactly. The afterlife.
Yeah. Thank you, Taylor. All right. Moving on to Jaharia. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to be bold. I didn't care for this. Personally, I think the bride look is really cool. I think it's nice. I don't like the groom look at all. I really don't. I think it is just a tuxedo with some fun makeup. And if you want to, like, that's just the vibe I'm getting from it. Like, it's just not reading for me. I was baffled when Jaharia was high this week, because I had Jaharia like 5th from the bottom. If we want to talk about people not really doing much with the groom look, this was one of the ones that I like really thought didn't do much with the groom look. Bride look is great. I like it a lot. And I don't think she should have been in the bottom by any means, but this was the definition of a safe floor show for me. So that's just me.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think both of these looks were great for me. I'll start with the bride look. I think it's gorgeous. I love the color palette of both of these looks. I think blue and black looks so good together. I also love they talked about this blonde wig. This blonde wig is stunning on Jaharia. It looks so good. She's so pretty. I actually like this groom look. I do think that maybe it could have been a bit of a better, tighter fit on the tuxedo itself, because it did just kind of. I agree with you. It did kind of look like she just put on a tuxedo, but just the way that she sold the groom look, I really, really, really liked how Jaharia really like brought this character to life. They mentioned Gomez Adams for this performance on the groom look. And also there was a shady little a quick cut to Zava looking really pissed when Jaharia was getting praised for Gomez Adams. So that was a little funny, little shady edit. But this groom look, I just like the attitude that was brought into it. There was actually thought put into what Jaharia was going to do on the floor show for the groom, and I appreciate that. I do think the look could have been elevated. I also don't get goth from both of these looks, but it's a safety for me.
I'm going to also disagree with Brook. I think the looks were successful as a pairing. I think, this Gomez Adams was really giving Adams family hands down, and as one of the judges mentioned, it was very fun and unique and different for Gothic runway to see a very happy groom who has played so much overjoyed character. But that was kind of one of Jaharia's fortes, and I'm not mad at this at all. I also didn't quite care about the judges' critiques that these two structures, symmetrical structures, kind of were shading her face too much. I think it was pretty all right. And my only pet peeve would be, again, like just the coloring of the visible parts of her arms and hands, to make them probably as white with bluish undertones as like JK covered all their visible body parts during the white makeup. But that's just like one detail. I still think that, black and blue looks phenomenal together, and I would give this a pretty hot tea.
And finally, oh wait, no, we have two people. Sorry. Next up, Sigourney. I can't do it 2 weeks in a row. I can't. Okay, let's start with the bride. I'm not going to talk about her floor show performance yet. I'm going to talk about the look. The look is Sigourney house down. Like, she ate it up. I think it's great. Her performance was a little bit awkward, and I think that's because the outfit wasn't moving like she wanted it to, and she wasn't expecting it to. But this look is literally made out of velvet, and now you're wearing a wet velvet outfit on the runway. Obviously, it's not going to move the way you intended it to. Again, this curse was actually evil, and whoever came up with it, I respect your work. This groom, on the other hand, I feel like I'm about to go watch a jazzercise class. I love you, Sig. Love you down. I just don't get it. Maybe it's the pink. I think it might be the detailing and like the purple detailing. But it's just not my fave. I think it is totally fine. I don't really see a connection either. I think the connection is kind of missing. I can't bag her twice. That feels wrong. I am going to give her tepid tea, because I do acknowledge that most of the only problem I have with her bride look is the floor show, and that was not her fault. So I will say the most tepid tea possible, but tepid tea, because I cannot bring myself to stay back this week. I can't.
I don't mind doing it. She's on my I drafted her, so you know what? I'm gonna show just how unbiased I am. This is a slight bag for me, and this is why. The bride look is excellent. If she didn't have the curse, she would have been stunning in this. But she did have the curse. And the problem that I have is that she did not make lemonade out of the situation. I think the entire episode, she was just kind of like, oh, poor me. It's going to suck. It's going to look so bad. It's going to be so heavy, and it's going to suck. And then she just leaned into that it was going to suck. And it did reduce her performance on the floor. I think, there's a funny story that you can put into this. I know Sigourney likes to be very, kind of regal and kind of above it all, but like show a more campier side of you. Like maybe it's too heavy. Maybe you trip. And oh my gosh, I'm a bride that tripped on my wedding day. That's so embarrassing. Like, there's a lot of opportunities that you could have done, and it make the frustration of pulling a huge, heavy, wet dress across the stage be your benefit. And I think she just missed the mark on that. I think she could have, taken those opportunities. As far as the groom, this is not a groom. I'm sorry. Like, this is just not a groom for me. I understand people want to be very gender bendy, but I don't even get any sort of gender bendiness from this. I do just kind of get, if she's going for a lesbian wedding, then I love that. And have like a lesbian groom, but maybe I missed it. I don't remember that in her confessional package for the runway. So I just get I get very feminine energy from me. And if that's what she was going for, she could have just said that, and I would have loved it. And then I'd be like, great groom look. Otherwise, it's too feminine for me. With what the prompt is. I don't really get goth from the groom look either. Goth is clearly in the bride look. It's excellent. Sigourney really doesn't miss when it comes to like the feminine looks. It's just this sort of drag king like male look just didn't hit the mark for me. And her performance on the other side, it's going to be a slight bag for me. The looks, I didn't like the groom look, but the bride look is excellent. Her performance brought it down into bag territory for me.
Well, if there was a category for Sig to lose, it was this one, and lose she did. Unfortunately, I think, all things considered, this could have been my bottom 4 look, fourth from the bottom, fourth from Jade. Mike is absolutely right. It's unfortunate to see that she didn't make lemons out of lemonade. And as I said before, like an hour ago in this episode, it's kind of unfortunate that she, of all the people cursed across the entire franchise, was the most affected one by it. Because we had Grey Matter winning with the curse. We had Cynthia being in the bottom, but she would have been in the bottom regardless of the toilet. Abhora not giving a toss about her wig loss, hair loss. And here she was so in her head. She could have been literally the goth bride going to Nosferatu beach party, which she was high for, and being soaking wet. But it didn't happen, unfortunately. And the look is stunning. The bride's look, of course. The presentation did suffer, as we all mentioned, and the groom, no, it's not the groom. It's a piano player in the lobby. Sorry.
It's so shady, Micha.
But if she's a piano player in the hallway, maybe down the aisle, 3 miles, to be precise. But that was not exactly the group. Love the purple, but I love purple. For me, it's a slight.
I just couldn't do it, y'all. I couldn't do it.
Understandable. It's Mother.
It's Mother. I can't do it to Mother twice. I can't. Finishing up, we have Evah Destruction. I really, really love this bride look. I think this is just so fun and so interesting and so creative. Making the wig the spider, so fun and such a good choice because it adds so much to it. And then the other thing I really like, and this is maybe not what other people might focus on, the necklace on this is just perfect detailing. And it shows this really unique eye for detail that Evah has had a lot more as she's went through Dragula. The other thing I really like here are the little dots on the forehead because it just sells that spider aesthetic so well. I think this the bride look is my 3rd favorite bride on the runway tonight. I really, really enjoy it. And then I look at the groom. I like the groom. I get the story we're telling. I understand the energy. To borrow a quote from Darian Lake pretending to be Courtney Act talking to Darian Lake, it's not that your clothes are ugly. It's just your mission. And I'm not talking about Evah here. I'm talking about the thing around Evah. I know what we're going for. Obviously, we're going for spider webbing, and like everybody's caught up in the spider web, and like obviously, duh. It just doesn't. I wish it was more or less, and I could not tell you which one I would rather prefer. I think more. I think more would be what I would want here. I want her to walk down the runway, literally, fully enclosed in this thing, arms snapped to her side, like, and then honestly, just have Israel wheel her around. We saw someone else do it earlier in the episode. Just have Israel wheel her around on a freaking dolly. Not to be confused with Dragula season 4 winner Dolly. So literally just wheel her around, because that would sell this illusion a little bit more for me. I think it's well executed. I think the bride look especially is just gorgeous. So obviously it's T. I don't want to say think about the big picture, because that's not my place to say whatsoever. But I just wish it was a little bit more, personally.
I love this look. This is one of my favorites of the night. That Black Widow hair is insane. It's so good. I love the story that it tells. These looks are so clearly connected. It's, she's laying eggs on the groom, and the spiders are like hatching and like eating him now. I love the story that it tells. It's clearly Gothic for me. I like the concept that you were coming up with, Brooke, about like the cocoon, like maybe have it a bit bigger, but like maybe have it be a reveal. Like, because I love the cinching on this groom look. I love that there was shape. It's really the only, there are a couple of groom looks that were kind of well shaped, but this was like, there was a clear defined silhouette and shape. And I love that Evah was like, you know what? It is male, it is groom, but we still need a silhouette on it. And I totally agree, as someone who wears clothing very, very tight, because I think it is flattering on anybody to have for that sort of like, create shape. All too often, I think a lot of the queens in this runway put the grooms as like very bulky, no shape. I appreciate that Evah went the complete opposite direction. I think it was a total win for her here. This was piping hot tea for me. I loved everything about this.
Yay. As someone else from his season said, F the big picture, Clint. But actually, this picture is still pretty big for me. This is very, very hot. And actually, to tell you the truth, before even the floor show happened, when I was just starting to watch the episode, my biological dropout student brain thought, oh, it would be so cool if somebody has done praying mantis wedding as like the bride eating the groom, and Evah was the one who got closest to it with the spider story. And how cool is that? First of all, she looks unrecognizable in both of her looks. She never looked like this in any of her own ways on previous 2 seasons. The groom especially. I agree with, I kind of see where Brook is coming from, saying that this like spider web could be the entire silhouette, like the giant condom on Dumb. This could be interesting as a 4-day, and maybe she could have had a reveal. But also, I love this cinch silhouette, and it kind of gives her, like an egg on this, egg holder. It's kind of very funny, but with all the spiders. The necklace looks divine. Yeah, she sold. Being the thespian of the group, she sold both looks. The bride especially. The connection is very clear between the 2 looks. The story is super hot. So yeah, it's a very, very hot tea for me. One of the tops for sure.
Well, that is all of our current looks to talk about. We'll get into it in a little bit. But yeah, so we complete our floor show. We get our critiques from the judges, and our top 4 for the week. Note 4 are JK Jaharia. Oh, why is it long like that? Oh, that's so ugly. JK Cynthia Doll, Evah Destruction, and Jaharia. You see it, right? Why is this not all one line? This is despicable. That is our top 4. I'm not keeping that banner on screen any longer than I have to. But our winner is JK.
Agreed.
Honestly, agree.
I could have heard an argument for Cynthia. I think Cynthia's looks were both really great. And I could have heard an argument for Evah as well. I think they were clearly the top 3 of this challenge for me.
I agree.
Yeah. Don't know why we needed to put Jaharia in the top when we could have just kept her safe, but here we are. No shade. I just don't get it personally. And I like Addams Family. It's just not for me.
I'm going through the looks of who would I have rather had in the top. I think the top was absolutely correct for me. Like, I think this if there was a top 4, this would be my top 4.
I just don't think we need a top 4 if we're only going to have a bottom 3, personally.
Right.
But they do it pretty often, especially nowadays, especially in the later seasons. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just mad at it, especially giving more praise to more people. Why not? Yeah. But yeah, I love this entire. The only thing I would say about like the possibility of Cynthia's win is just for like storyline, because she never had one and JK already had. But yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at this at all. I think JK kind of was the top 1, just like by some margin. So yeah, it was very good week to be a JK stan.
So then we get into our bottom 3, and we have Jade, Zavaleta, and Disasterina. I want to see show of hands who believes this is the accurate bottom 3 this week. Didn't think so. Okay. So we're all on the same page. Zavaleta should not have been at the bottom for this, right?
Yes. The problem is figuring out who I thought should have been there instead. I think you would have put Dollya, if I'm honest.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, look, when it comes to the challenge, right, out of every bride, in my opinion, the worst bride was Jade. Out of every groom, in my opinion, the worst groom was also Jade. But if I'm going to take Jade out of the equation, the next worst groom was Dollya, by far, for me. And I can say that I think overall, when it comes to the overall cohesion and the overall design of the outfits, I think Disasterina was just lacking. And I think if we're looking at it holistically in that manner, that was the bottom 3 for me. So like, I feel like it should be the clear bottom 3. I hate the critiques they threw at Zavaleta this week.
I do too.
Because I get it from like maybe the James and Chelsea perspective of like, we're not, we don't talk about drag very often. So this is what we think we should be seeing. So like the critique of maybe not being able to see her face, I can kind of get to a degree, but I don't like how we're talking about this look that I really thought was just striking visually.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I feel like I'm not sure why they put Zavaleta in the bottom. It's a very you know what I think it is? This is my tinfoil hat. I think they actually might have scored maybe somebody like Blackberri in the bottom 3, and they did not want to have to put a very strong message in the bottom 3. I can understand that impulse. It is a powerful message that Blackberri, and so I just don't agree. That's my tinfoil hat. I just don't think Zavaleta should have been the bottom. I agree.
I would put Sigourney in the bottom 3 instead of Jade and Disasterina, maybe also for production reasons, just to make her sweat after she was dripped in water. She would have warmed up faster. But no, just taking the groom, for me, her groom was probably second worst of the entire night. So yeah, we'll see. And also for like not kind of living up to this additional challenge, I think the Boulets could have done this because there were like some precedents in the past, like semi-precedents in the franchise. But yeah, Zavaleta had no business being in the bottom 5 whatsoever, not even the bottom 3.
I agree.
So we then go to the Cauldron. Were you excited for more Dollya? Because I wasn't. I'm not. I mean, 90th verse, same as the first 89. I mean, literally all it is just everybody's saying that Dollya should have been either someone. It starts with you should have been in the bottom just for your attitude alone. That is not the only reason she should have been on the bottom. but we get all kinds of just everybody saying what they feel, how they feel, what they're feeling about it, why XYZ 1, 2, 3 Dollya should have been in the bottom. And like they're talking about Dollya's being fake, Dollya's not real. And at some point, I'm just like, okay, regardless of any of this, y'all have said it all 5 different times in 4 different arguments, and 3 times in this episode alone. I'm just kind of tired. I'm just tired.
I will say this. I liked how
beginning now soon. I cannot deal with this all season.
I like how Blackberri brought up the issue. I think she was very much mature in how she approached it. She was just like, look, I understand when you're saying that, you know, you have these struggles that you're dealing with, and they may mainly Dollya said that she was bipolar, and a lot of times that may influence her behavior. And Blackberry's like, I'm not diminishing that at all, but you still need to apologize if you've hurt someone. It doesn't matter if you've hurt someone while you're dealing with your struggles. You still hurt someone, and it's, you know, it's important to make amends for that. And it just feels like Dollya's not doing that. I get when Dollya's being dogpiled in this moment. I wrote she was being dogpiled. It's kind of, I feel bad for Dollya in that moment because that's a shitty feeling, especially when you feel like you're trying to be in a good headspace or trying to get out of this bad headspace. That's not going to help you. But I also do understand, like, if your actions are hurting people, you need to apologize for that, regardless of what brought about those bad actions. You still need to apologize at the end of the day.
Yeah, and maybe just maybe for the sake of her own sanity and like calm, she should have been as calm in this scene as her namesake, double goblin gremlin on the shoulder of Jade's groom.
Oh, we didn't mention that. That was the only thing I liked about Jade's package was the gremlin.
And it also wasn't shown just as her balloons. It was pretty much gone like in a blink of an eye during the critiques. So yeah.
But yeah, also a little bit of drama that is not Dollya that I wrote down. Zava reads Jay's for the shoes that he was wearing and then says like, oh, are you going to go out and cheat on, you know, like your boyfriend like you did the last one? And I was like, oh my God.
So yeah, Jade and Zava fighting over a man. Yeah.
They're fighting over a man.
I was waiting on it. I mean, it was at least a distraction from the Dollya stuff, so I appreciated it for that.
I will say they're making videos today, so I'm assuming both of them are not with the man currently. So
I mean, also, nothing bonds people together like going on Dragula. Apparently.
Are you sure? Like,
I can't even say that with a straight face. I can't even say that with a straight face. Because, look, for all we know, there was a spat. They fixed the crap and they moved on. I'm assuming we're gonna find out more because, spoiler alert, neither of them went home this week. But yeah, so other than that, I think we have fully discussed what we can in the Cauldron here this week. And we get told it's back to the. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Saba had a funny line where she's like, "Oh, you're just like chismosos. Oh, that means gossip girl." And then Cynthia goes, "Thank you."
That's great.
Yeah. So we go back to the main stage, and we get told that Zavaleta is safe, meaning Jade and Disasterina must walk the staircase of souls. That's what it's called.
The ghostly gallows.
Take a trip up to the ghostly gallows. And in this moment, I kind of figured what was gonna happen. I will say this. Okay. I think it should have happened last week, and the fact that it is now the 3rd week in a row out of 3 challenges where a certain someone was in the bottom, I wasn't surprised at the outcome. Were you two surprised by this outcome?
Not at all, no.
I actually was, because I feel like Boulets have a history of keeping people past where they naturally should go. I felt like this is where Jade should go. I do agree. I think Jade probably should have left last week, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh, first.
But
Right.
well, they had a twist, and that's why that she was never in the actual bottom, but she was in the
Oh,
critique
y'all
bottom.
wanted a twist, eh?
But like, there was a part of me that was like, Disasterina is getting overlooked largely. I think she had a bad week this week, but otherwise, I think Disasterina's performed pretty damn well in the competition thus far. And she's not really getting that much recognition for the Boulets. So part of me was worried that she was just going to get cut like, the season 1 queens were. So I'm happy that she gets another chance at it. I'm pleasantly surprised, honestly. Well, I'm not happy to see Jade go. I wish that she had a better showing than what she had. But I'm happy that Disasterina gets to stay, because I think that she has shown some great drag and will continue to show great drag. So,
but yeah, so Jade is dropped in the gallows. We get another Jade, but this time Jade actually dies. So Jade Jolie, third person out of Dragula Titans, or is she? It is now time to talk about the elephant
Jade,
in the room.
Do not leave.
Time to talk about the elephant in the room. At the end of last week's episode, we saw Loris and Frankie get brought back to life and said, "We're not done with you yet." And then comes, in my personal opinion, the single best twist we have ever had on either Dragula or Drag Race. Period. My opinion. I cannot think of anything that tops it for me. Welcome to the Hellbound Showdown. So, the last 2 eliminated ghouls, Loris and Frankie, come out on the stage, and we get told they're competing in the floor show. But it's directly head-to-head. There is no extermination, none of that. It is literally just walk your look for the floor show, go do your thing. Whoever performs better will compete in the next floor show, and the other person is permanently eliminated.
Better than Drag Race.
Did it, Titans. Well, let's talk about it, because the first second I heard this, I was like, oh, so it's the Lip Sync SmackDown Lollapalooza, the Silky episode of All-Star 6.
It's the game within a game.
It's the game within a game.
Do not leave for this season. There's a game within a game.
But talking about the game within a game, right? One of my biggest, and I think a lot of people's big critiques from it, was that it was just all done in one episode. We had very minimal knowledge that something was going on, other than the clips at the end of every show of like, there's a game within a game, and we don't get told what any of that is for 10 fucking weeks, and then we get one episode 9 weeks, and then we get the one episode with the battles, and it was great, and a lot of those lip syncs are iconic, and Silky Nutmeg Ganache won All-Star 6 in one episode, but I think they didn't format it as well, whereas this, amazing.
I honestly think, though, if Silky had not done such a great job, we would hate that episode, because we hate the other episode with it. It was just like that, which was the premiere of, or I was thinking premiere of 13, where it was just lip sync, and everybody. It just, we don't like that. I love that we're getting. I don't
like having an episode of lip syncs, because some of the other Lollapaloozas are really fun. I like the new format with the reunion Lollapalooza. I think that works. The reason I don't like the 13 episode is because nothing mattered. It didn't matter at all, and nobody went home. It was pointless. I think as long as we have a point to the lip syncs, and it isn't just, hey, you want to see 13 drag queens lip sync for an hour and a half with no stakes on Drag Race? I can do that at my bar, and at least I'm tipping them there. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I like that the stakes of each performance we're getting each week when it matters. Like, it matters who between Frankie and Loris makes it on, because that's right in our mind. If it's at the end of the season, it's like, I'm sorry, I forgot about Frankie and Loris at this point. Like, oh, okay, let me think about them for the
minute
30 seconds. Yeah, 30
Yeah.
seconds that the floor show is.
So it's now time to go look and see what Loris and Frankie brought to this floor show. So allow us to switch back over here. So we're going to start with Loris. She would have been on the top if she was still in the competition this week.
She might have won.
I don't know if she would have won. And I will say that. I really do think Jay had just such a really well-connected performance. And I don't think the connection between the bride and the groom is as strong as Jay's is. But I think from a pure design standpoint, these are some of the best things I've ever seen Loris in, period. Absolute stun of a performance from Loris this week.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. This is just, this glamorous like dress, and then the red like bloodied face with the knife in it. Absolutely stunning on the bride side. This groom side, it's Loris, it's latex, it's what we've come to expect, and we love that. And I love the styling of this. It's giving kind of, there's an attitude to the groom, but also you can clearly see that it's a groom. Also like the bloody boa on it, so it's a little effeminate as well. Amazing. Top to bottom.
It's a very, very hot tea for me. The bride looks kind of the gothic turkey woman, if she was like literally the bird reincarnate inside like this phenomenal Gothic bride. I agree with you, Brook. The connection is not exactly super clear, but I love the way they're like connected by contrast, literally by contrast, because they do have like this very big opposition of white and black between the two. But I love both looks separately, and I think they could have been like a couple in their own specific universe, or comic book, or something like this, or video game. So yeah, this tea is very hot.
I mean, yeah, of course. I think this is just immaculate from top to bottom. I really love the groom. I think this is the best groom we got out of any of the performances.
This groom is sexy.
This groom is sexy.
Yeah.
But like, just demonic cowboy. It works so well. I think it's so great. Is it necessarily the most gothic thing in the world? Maybe not, but honestly, I don't care. I think the aesthetic, and especially with the tie in the front at the chest, I think that really makes it a little bit more gothic than maybe it would have been without it. Having the veil around the flowers is also just so fun and so unique and stupid that I'm here for that. This is great. I have seen men dress like this in non-latex outfits before at weddings. So fantastic work from Loris this week. Tea, extremely hot. Frankie!
I'm really glad that Frankie exists in this universe. This was not exactly the tea for me. I mean, especially the groom look like mama. The only good thing about this for me was that she could have very easily pointed the middle finger towards Loris when the results were announced, or who stays, because her hands and her arms were pretty clear. And I love the wig. The wig is like literally giving Cynthia Doll ghost punk in the 80s. Yay. The Club Kid boots, they didn't have any elongated critiques, but those boots were not made for Dragula. And if she was still in the competition, she would like ran the house down for them. For me, the main problem is the connection and also the silhouette of the bride. Because I think the silhouette of the groom and the gender bending factor is good. It's just not giving groom at all. The connection is also kind of not there. And the bride, I get the vampiric teeth, I get like the neck up, I get the flowers, but the dress, oh my god, especially in this lightning, it does look like literally not only as an afterthought, but it was like hanging over her window. which is unfortunate. So yeah, it's a bag for me.
Yeah, I fully agree. My biggest problem with this is the fact that she's not cinched in the bride look, because it doesn't look like an outfit. It looks like you just put some fabric on you because it doesn't have any shape. And I wouldn't give this critique normally, but I will say, based on the time period you're going for with Elizabethan collar, they were cinched, all of them. You don't wear a dress in the 1800s without being cinched. It just doesn't give that. And then I look at this little emo scene kid to my right, and I'm like, I don't get the connection. I will say I at least get some semblance of groom in terms of this is clearly a ripped up and torn apart tuxedo. So like, sure. But the hair is an interesting choice. I wish it was the same green as the flowers on the bride, like the stems of the flowers on the bride. I think that would have added at least something of connection there. But oh Lord, the return of the club kid boots. Every year I see them, I'm just like, oh God, we're still doing this on Dragula. Okay. And again, I know some people can only afford club kid boots. If you're wearing club kid boots, I respect the hell out of you. They will read you for it on Dragula, and I think Frankie is lucky that there were no critiques after this performance after she wore them.
Yeah, this is a bag for me. Y'all kind of hit on the main points. My main issue is that the goth that we're getting from the bride look is not the goth we're getting from the groom look. And that's my biggest issue. I feel like it's like modern goth. I get more punk personally from the groom look, but it's not really even goth. And then from the bride, the fangs kind of give a Victorian sort of goth sort of aesthetic. But I don't get wedding dress from this. I get nightgown. I'm sorry. I get like she woke up and she woke up in the middle of the night. Well, she's a vampire, so the middle of the day, and then so she's like, "Oh, what was that?" And then she goes through her Tudor mansion in her nightgown here. I'm glad that Frankie got to show more of. I mean, do we have a slide for the performance at all?
We do not.
I'll leave some like comments on that next when we talk about the performance, but this was a bag for me. It just missed the mark on kind of all the fronts. It's kind of amazing that Loris has one of the best, and I think Frankie had sadly one of the worst showings of the category of the night. Love you, Frankie, but these were just misses for me. This is a bag.
You know, Brook, when you reminded us of Courtney Act versus Darian Lake, the bride's dress of Frankie gives exactly that when Courtney, according to Darian, put her bride in a muumuu, and that was it. And also this led to my probably favorite Michelle Visage's critique of all time when she asked Courtney, "Do you think this length says Louisiana?" And
well. Based on our critiques, I'm assuming you all can pretty much piece together what happened. Frankie Doom is perma-dead as of this point, meaning Loris will continue on to battle Jade next week. What's the category? We don't know yet, so we'll see what happens.
I will say, in the performance, I do think Loris won. But Frankie had a really hot performance. I think he was doing a lot of really in the groom part. Like there was kind of like it took off like the clothing. I love the breastplate underneath the bride on Frankie. I was like, whoa, that was kind of a shocker. But I do agree. Loris won that.
Yep. So, as we close out this episode, we would like to remind you all about our draft. It's time for a draft update. So, for the first time this season, I can say nothing has changed. It is the exact same order that we had last week. So, in fourth place is Mike with 25.5 points. I don't know where you got. Oh, Dollya winning the mini challenge, the Fright feed. Okay, that's where you got it from. So that is where we're at there. Third place is Logan with 29 points. I'm in second with 40 points, and Micha is still in the lead with 41 points. I should also let you all know we are giving a point to whoever survives the Hellbound Showdown each week. Only the survivor, because it is essentially like winning a lip sync on Drag Race. That was kind of the argument we made, so they get a point. And also, if they consistently do well, I mean, they're already eliminated, but they're still making it through the competition. So in theory, they should at least get a point for making it another week. So we'll see if Jade or Loris gets that point next week. So now that we are 3 episodes in, it is now time for the traditional Brook question of, as of right now, if you had to take a guess, who do you think is winning this competition? 1, and 2, who do you think is going home next week? Or I guess going to the Hellbound Showdown next week.
To win, I'm going to stick with what I feel I had a couple episodes now. I'm going to say Evah Destruction is still my winner pick currently. And then going home next. We don't know what the challenge is next week. So
Blame it on the edit.
I think that Disasterina may be next in line.
That hurts.
Sadly.
Yeah.
She's just getting under edited. I just don't see her. Sad.
I'm gonna start with who's gonna get eliminated. In my opinion, I'm gonna take a wild guess and think that it'll probably be Dollya. I'm not sure if they're ready to get rid of the drama as of yet, but we shall see. And I know my number 1 winner's pick was Evah, but just for the sake of switching the cards a little bit and what we have seen as these 3 episodes, of course she's still my number 1 winner pick, but I nominate JK.
I was between Evah and JK, yeah.
As well.
I feel it's gonna be JK. That's just where I'm at right now. Because even with Evah has done really well all weeks, but we haven't really seen a ton of her in these past, at least in this episode, we didn't see a lot of her. Outside of that little conversation that she had with Dollya, whereas I feel like JK has had a consistent presence in the story, is consistently being involved in everything. We're hearing her insights. She's at least the narrator of the season to this point. He's at least the narrator of the season to this point. And that coupled with 3 strong performances out of the gate as well from JK. Maybe I'm just manifesting a little bit high, but you know what? Screw it. That's what I want. When it comes to who's going home next week, I want it to be Dollya because I think the story has run its course for me. But I am inclined to agree that I think it will likely be Disasterina just based on the edit. Just based on the edit. Blazed. Yeah, that's a word. Just based on the edit. However, if it's not, yay. I would love for it not to be Disasterina.
Yeah, I hope not. I do hope it's Dollya. The drama's getting a little nasty. Maybe it's time to kind of cut that string.
Well, it just kind of reminds me of when Scylla went home so early last season, and when Astrid went home so early in season 4. Like, the drama doesn't need to be around the entire time to still be the drama. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. And also, not every winner got like a very huge ton of confessionals. Speaking of season 4, like Dali wasn't like mega present in the neither in the drama nor in the edit in general. But
that's why I kind of picked Evah. As I was thinking of Dolly, who was present but not the biggest character on season 4, and then ended up taking the win at the end.
Yep. Evah is still my number 1 pick on the draft, so but I'm really glad for both JK and Evah and Jaharia being in the top all 3 weeks. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
All right. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, recapping Dragula Titan Season 2, Episode 3. Let us know in the comments down below. Who do you think won this floor show? Who do you think should have been in the bottom? And who should have went home? Because personally, I really want to see who you all think did the worst this week. I'm curious. Let us know down below as well what you're thinking about for next week, what you hope to see, who you hope to see do well, and who you think is winning this, because your opinions matter just as much as ours do. We are all fans at the end of the day. So while you're here, make sure to like, share, subscribe, do all the fun stuff that you can while you're here to support us. Make sure to click on the link in the description to buy your merch, including but not limited to cup mug. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.